So if you're new to our YouTube channel, I owned my R35 Nissan GT-R for 5.5 years, and it was a fantastic ownership experience. I sold the car to buy my dream car, which is a Lamborghini Gallardo. However, at the same price point, I cannot argue a McLaren 570S would be a fantastic choice. I recently filmed an LP 550 comparing it to the 718 GT4 Cayman. Since they're the same price as well, but now it's time to take a look at a McLaren 570S. So today I'm here at 704 Exotics checking out this British supercar. Should this be the car that replaces my GTR? Should I forego the dream of the Lamborghini Gallardo and get a more modern, faster McLaren, which by the way, even is equipped with millionaire doors? I mean, how cool is that to have in a car? Now, underneath the hood of the McLaren 570, first off, you can't really get access to the engine. You can see it a little bit, but this packs a 3.8 liter twin turbocharged V8. It's rear wheel drive, has a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and cranks out 562 horsepower with 443 pound-feet of torque. It weighs in around 3,200 pounds, can do 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, and tops out at 204 miles per hour. So we're gonna take the 570S for a spin. I've driven 650S, 12Cs, but this one is kind of the modern version at that price point that I'm looking at. So let's take a spin in the 570S and see, is this my next car? All right, so we are setting off now in the McLaren 570S. This is a very unique driving experience. And one thing I mentioned in the previous video where I compared the 718 GT4 to the Gallardo, I'm looking for an experience, not necessarily pound for pound replacing what my R35 had to offer, but just in normal automatic mode, this is a completely different car than anything I've really ever driven. It is compact in here. I feel like I'm sitting on the front tires. Visibility is fantastic. You can literally see around this car so well. The user interface and stuff, it's pretty modern, really not too hard to get used to, even though some things you gotta go into a few menus to kind of get to where you're trying to get to. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's pretty normal in here. Footroom, legroom, you know, seat comfort, things like that. I can't recline the seat all the way as far back as I'd like because I have to be close enough to touch the pedals. Dead pedals a little short, so it's a little interesting sitting in this car, but overall it rides really comfortable and smooth. In the GT4, I felt that car was a little too tame, quite honestly. Driving it in normal mode, it felt like my wife's S3, which is 100 grand cheaper. This, even though it's comfortable and easy to drive, it feels very special, which I'm looking for a special experience, something that is unique. I want to do road trips, road rallies, mountain trips. I want to drive the car. And this feels very unique and feel like something, every time I hop in this, I mean, this is a wow factor car already. Now, the way you do the drive modes, basically you have to turn the active switch to the on position, and then wherever these are, that will basically turn you into those modes. So right now we're in sport for the handling and powertrain, toggling the M right there, or manual for manual, and we have these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, and you can actually hit them on both sides, either that or push or pull both sides basically. But the steering feel in this car is crazy. Like I said, you feel like you're sitting on that front axle. It is just so wrapped around you. So this car is gonna give me the handling experience that I liked in that GT4. However, it already is giving me that raw, cool aspect of the Lamborghini. And it's gonna also give me the power that I had in my GTR. Not to say I'm looking for the fastest car out there, but this is one of the fastest cars out there. In sport mode, holy crap. I've missed that a little bit. You know, when I sold the GTR, I was giving up my 700 horsepower baby. Wow, this thing already is fast. This is basically as fast, if not faster, than the GTR. Wow. So let me go into track mode. Even slow speed in this car, you know, it still kind of gives you that sense of occasion, which is something I'm really, really looking forward to. Wow, this thing is a rocket ship. This is nuts. And yet it feels so like, holy crap, that is fast. It feels so manageable too. this is gonna make my decision hard. Going around that turn, okay, I filmed so many like BMWs, Mercedes, and Audis around that turn, and even in an M4 or an M8 or something that is sporty, that is a whole different ballgame. This car is so light on its toes. It doesn't feel like there is anything holding this car back. It can just do everything, and the steering feel is more direct than I have ever experienced. That is wild how tight this car truly does feel. Those carbon ceramic disc brakes also do a really good job. Man. So the transmission doesn't give you as much feedback as the Gallardo. The Gallardo's single clutch E-gear I do like a lot. I know not everyone is a fan of that transmission. I like it because it's so character filled. While this one you don't feel the gear changes like I found in the Porsche, because there is so much power in such a unique driving position and driving feel, you don't really care that you don't get that crazy sensation. However, at the same time, when I do shift, kind of getting in the gas a little bit, you can tell the car is just like going and going. So there's character in this car, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a car with a lot of character. And wow, this thing has a lot of character to it. So downshifting again, down into second gear. The transmission is so unique. Like when you hit the paddle and go into the next gear, it is already so pre-selected. It just like rubber bands you, just bam, into the next gear. It's so crazy, the feeling of speed going from gear to gear. This is really a unique car. Wow. But the handling, like this car, you feel like you are on rails going through the turns. I've never driven a car that handles like this. Wow. So like I mentioned when I compared the GT4 to the Gallardo, I want a car that is just an experience. Nothing handles like this car does. Wow. This is unreal. Now these are the same price as the LP Gallardos. I'm finding these for in the $130,000 range. Much newer cars, you know, this is a 2017. I think it has like 15,000 miles on it. Wow. This is amazing to drive. Wow. This is giving me that wild experience that I enjoyed in the Gallardo, but also the precision I'm finding in a Porsche GT car. And the power of my old GTR. This has so much going for it. I'm blown away. And I feel like the more I'm in it, I'm getting more and more comfortable with it. Just like how I'm sitting and everything, the view out. It's a easy car to get used to, I would say, because it is really well done the way it like just is. I could see buying this. I could see just enjoying this, you know, driving it around town. Sometimes I'm not gonna be getting on the car. I wanna be able to use this around town doing day-to-day stuff that I do. And this seems to be able to just do normal driving and yet still offer you something fun and a unique experience. But then when you do put it in track mode and everything, it just does everything. And the impressive thing is, even in track mode, it doesn't beat you up. So you're not sacrificing having a supercar. The Gallardo, there are definitely sacrifices. It is basically turned on the whole time you drive it. It's cranked up to 11, and you're always in a very tight, old school, rough supercar, which I like. But this car doesn't beat you up, but still gives you a wild experience. Gosh. Wow, man, this is cool. And then just turning active back off, it goes back into all the normal modes, everything. So we're in automatic, everything's back to normal. And it still feels like a cool car, but now it's a little bit more comfortable, a little more relaxed. The shifting is just kind of normal. So second gear, sharp turn. Wow. That's unreal. Unreal precision in this car. When I drove the 718 GT4, I said nothing had precision like a Porsche. I'd never driven a 570S. I've driven the 12C, which is fine. It's a great car. It does not have a soul, basically. There is something about that car where it's missing extra character to really make you feel like you're in something special. This car feels a lot better. It feels just newer, the layout looks better. There's something about this where there's more character to it, to where it gives you that sense of like, yeah, I'm in something really, really cool. So one more time, let's slow down and do first gear just to see. Wow. Wow. This car literally has it all. Man. I don't know, this is tough. I have the performance and acceleration of my GTR. That car was blisteringly fast and it was fun. Again, not to say I'm craving the fastest car or the most modification potential car, but this car gives me all the power and then some. All the modification potential, even downpipes, tuning, stuff like that. This car is perfectly capable of maybe 800 to the wheels pretty easily. It gives me a supercar. I mean, I love the Gallardo's look. It is one of my favorite looking cars ever. It's my dream car since I was 10 years old. To me, that and an LP 640 Mercy are the best looking cars ever made. This looks amazing. It looks every bit as cool. The doors go up, which is definitely really neat. And yet, like the Porsche, it gives me the precision, the semi-refinement. I mean, I wouldn't say the build quality on the McLaren is the greatest. It's not quite like a Porsche. However, it does feel very nice in here with carbon fiber and leather. Seats are comfortable. There's cup holders. There's actually storage and a center console. Like, this is genuinely a livable, normal car, but also wild at the same time. It absolutely has the whole package, and you can get these in the $120,000 mark with low miles. Wow. I have loved the Gallardo since I was 10. Oh man. I'm truly just blown away with how good this car really feels and the price point. I mean, obviously a six-figure car is still an expensive car, but you know, it's not 200 grand like this probably was brand new. But to get into a true supercar, this has every single thing a supercar has to offer for low hundreds. Oh my gosh. But not only is it fast, the handling is ridiculous. McLaren 570S, first time driving one. I'm smiling just as much as the Gallardo. This is an insane car. All right, I am back from driving the McLaren. Wow, that is an unreal driving experience for sure. It has the whole package. It's giving me the wild experience of the Lambo, the precision of the Porsche, all the looks I could expect for dropping this kind of money on a car. Gosh, the only thing that I'm a little curious about would be reliability and the maintenance of this car. So McLaren, not exactly the most reliable brand out there. They are prone to issues. The Lamborghini, not to say it's perfect, however, judging by the Lamborghini groups I've been a part of for several months now, the Gallardo's a car that people work on themselves. They can actually maintain it pretty easily. It's not really that difficult of a car to keep running in perfect condition. The Porsche, very reliable car as well. The McLaren, is this a car I could ever work on myself? I'm used to doing all the maintenance. My Nissan GTR, I maintained that myself in the garage for 5.5 years. Never once had a single problem. It was perfect. Even with full bolt-ons, I did fuel injectors, fuel pumps, flex fuel. It was perfect. Is this a car to where it's gonna have to go to McLaren once or twice a year at several $1,000s at a time? I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar with the brand. You know, what are these like to really own? So if you do own a 570S, I have heard some decently good things about them being actually pretty reliable to where there's really not too many issues. Some things I've heard, whenever you park the car, make sure you keep it on a battery tender. Whenever you start it up, turn the ignition on first and then fire up the engine, and then don't let these cars sit, actually use them. So comment below for you 570 owners, what are they like to own? What are the kind of ins and outs of owning this car reliably? Because I like having a car that I can depend on and won't just completely break the bank fixing it all the time. But there is the McLaren 570S. The experience was phenomenal. I truly am kind of in a torn decision now. Do I go for the Gallardo or do I go for this now? Because this thing is insane. We're gonna scratch the 718 GT4 off the table. That car was just a little boring, quite honestly. 991 GT3 is a car I've got to test drive though. I've driven the 991.2s. but I'd love to see the 3.8 liter versus the 4 liter is still as awesome. And then a newer Audi R8, that could be another potential option. So there is the McLaren 570S. Should this replace the GTR? Comment below. Big shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this amazing car for today's video. Truly was so much fun to drive. Oh, and it's high on the list. I'll see you all in the next video.